Hi, my name is Diana McNamara, and I'm a home visitor from Fort Bragg's New Parent Support Program. And this is my coworker, Carla Moore, and she is also here with us today so that we can talk to you about some things that you may either want for your baby and getting ready for your baby to come home, and shortly after you get home with the baby, and then also things that you might need or things that might be nice to have. So you may be having a lot of questions about those type of things. Some of you may have already, looked into those things, but we're here to kind of clarify a little bit or help to just provide you with some helpful information. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about car seats. Car seat, that is going to be the main thing that you're going to need to have before when you're wanting to take your baby home from the hospital. And so that is something that everybody's going to need, okay? And what you're going to need is a rear-facing infant carry seat. And you want to make sure that the car seat is new. So we strongly recommend that you purchase a new seat, because that way you know the history behind that seat. You know that the expiration date has not expired and that it is a good, safe seat for your baby. And then also you want to make sure that prior to the baby coming home that you've learned how to properly install the seat. And you can do that at any number of our Fort Bragg fire departments, and then also at a lot of the local fire departments off post.
So the next thing that you're going to need in order to bring your baby home is a safe place for your baby to sleep, which is very, very important. This is another thing that it can be new or used, but just making sure that it is safe is the most important thing. So things that you can use would be a crib. And with the crib, it's very important to make sure that the crib has fixed sides. You don't want a crib that is a drop side crib, because a lot of the older cribs are drop side, so that's definitely something that you don't want, because that is unsafe and those cribs have been recalled. With the cribs, you want to make sure that the mattress that fits inside of the crib is a tight fitting mattress, and then the sheets as well need to fit on the mattress safely. Other things that can be used for sleep, safe sleep, are a pack and play, which is portable, so those are really good to have, or even a bassinet for when the baby first comes home, because it's a little bit smaller, but also a safe option for a baby to sleep. Want to go back to the cribs. In the event that you do have a crib, you need to check some things. Also, one of the things you need to check is to make sure there are not any missing pieces or screws. That's going to be really important. And then the slats or spindles on the crib, they can only be 2 3/8 inches apart. So that's about the size of a soda can. But it's very, very important to have a safe sleep space for your baby. And you'll hear more about safe sleep in our other videos. And then if you plan to come to the maternity fair, there'll be a class on safe sleep as well.
Great, thanks Carla. Our next item that you're going to need, and you'll need plenty of them for quite many years, are diapers. So you're going to be diapering your baby. And so disposable diapers. Now there are a lot of different brands that you can choose from, and sometimes you may try one brand and find that that's not working well for your baby for one reason or the other, and you can switch to another brand. So that's really kind of a personal choice. But you will need about 8 to 10 disposable diapers to begin with. That's how many that you'll need as far as changing your baby frequently. If you're using cloth diapers, you may need a little bit more, which would be about 15 to 25 cloth diapers and about 6 to 8 covers. And that would be good for like about 2 to 3 days, every 2 to 3 days. And so it's a good idea to try, like you may have to have different sizes. So you may not want to buy too many of the smallest size, because your baby sometimes may be born pretty big and already outgrow that size. So you don't want to invest a lot of money in the really small size, okay? You can kind of add on as you need it. And then we can look about having baby wipes. You need to have baby wipes. That's going to be something you'll go through a lot of those. And then also you would need a diaper rash prevention ointment.
And a diaper bag is good to have as well. And one of the things with the diaper bag, it can be just a regular book bag. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. One thing I will say about the diapers, you're going to need the 8 to 10. That's going to be per day. So that's a lot of diapers. And then, so that averages to about 56 to 70 diapers a week. So as Diana said, it's a good idea to get different sizes, different brands, because you never know how your baby's going to respond to that particular diaper. So next we'll go on to things that you'll need for bathing. And so when your baby first comes home, you'll be doing what's called a sponge bath. So you don't necessarily have to have that bathtub right away. But as your baby gets older, it is a good idea to have a bathtub or even maybe a basin that you can bathe your baby in. And when you are bathing your baby, you're going to want to have like a mild, fragrance-free baby wash. Tear-free shampoo is good to have. Also, those soft bristled brushes and a comb to scrub your baby's head. As far as like taking care of their nails, because their nails will grow really quickly, an emery board is really good because their nails are so small. If you try to use nail clippers, you often run the risk of injuring your baby or cutting them. So emery boards work really well when it comes to trimming their nails because they will grow every day, and that's something that you'll have to do. Bath towels are nice to have, the hooded ones, but you don't necessarily need that. You can just use a regular towel because we know babies don't like to be cold when they're getting a bath.
Right, and you know, another thing is when it comes to your baby's hands and your baby's nails, one good point that Carla had shared with me in the past was that, you know, a lot of times it's tempting to want to have the baby mitts that you put on the baby's hands to keep them from scratching their face and all. But babies really need to developmentally have access to their hands to suck on them, to self-soothe, and those kind of things developmentally. So again, by keeping their nails short using the emery board, that's just a good way in itself to keep the baby's nails short, but also give them access to their fingers, right, and their hands. So we're going to talk a little bit about feeding your baby. Whether you are choosing to breastfeed your baby or whether you're planning to formula feed or bottle feed your baby, or maybe a combination of both, that you will need to have your breastfeeding supplies. So it'd be like a pump. You'll have some nursing pads, and then also a good supportive nursing bra is really important. And then also some baby bottles, and again, there's different types of bottles. And that's really kind of just something that you can kind of look into and try. You may have to switch once in a while to a different brand, you know, if you find that the one that you're using doesn't really suit your baby's needs. And then again, so that way you may be breastfeeding solely, you might be doing a formula, supplementing with formula, you may be doing all formula. There's so many different options, and all of them are good options. So we just want you to know what kind of things you need to have. But burp cloths, yeah, you're definitely going to need something. Burp cloth is really a good thing because babies will be burping, and so a lot of times with that comes a little spit up, and so it kind of protects your clothing from that. And then another thing would be, while you're feeding your baby, is to have pillows for comfort, you know, so that your body is well supported while you're sitting in the chair, and then also you have good support for your baby, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding.
And with the bottles too, it's always important to remember the nipple size for bottles based upon your baby's age, because you don't want to get a nipple that is fast flowing for a newborn baby, because the baby could possibly choke. So make sure you pay attention to the nipple sizes for the bottles as well. So the next thing we want to talk about is clothing. Of course, you're going to have to bring your new bundle Joy home in some clothing, but you don't have to have the most expensive or finest things. And then you also really need to think about what is the weather going to be like when your baby is born. So you need about 4 to 6 newborn size onesies. Onesies are really, really good to have. You don't have to buy a lot at the beginning. You can just buy 4 to 6 should cover you. And then 2 to 4 one-piece outfits are always good to have too. And you'll probably want the ones that open and close in the front, because that'll make it easier. As far as nighttime, the newborn gowns are good because you can just open up the bottom, slide them up, change the baby's diaper. And then also the sleepers are good because they open from the front as well and make it easy to change the diaper. In the winter, you'll need a hat for your baby when you go outside so that their head is covered. And then, of course, in the summer, you'll need a sun hat to protect the baby's face. Booties and socks are good. Your baby doesn't need shoes early on, so booties and socks are sufficient. And then as far as sleep goes, it's good to have a sleep set because that helps promote safe sleep as well.
Some additional baby gear that you may need, and then some of it is you may want, but would be definitely you'll need a stroller. A stroller is just one of those type of things that, you know, when you're trying to manage a baby, you can carry them in the little infant carrier seat, but depending if you're parking at the end of a parking lot and you're trying to manage your way across the parking lot and up into a building, having a stroller is definitely something that can be very helpful. And plus when you're, you know, like at a doctor's visit or anything like that, you know. And then just making sure that the stroller has a nice wide base so that it has good sturdy movement with you and the baby. And then you can have a safe front carrier, like an infant carrier. So you want to always make sure that when you are using an infant carrier, that your baby is held upright and that they have good head control, head and neck control, and that they have good airflow. So you don't want your baby tucked way in there where they're rebreathing their own air or they're just not getting good airflow, because that can be risky and dangerous for the baby. Other things that you can have would be like a baby swing, a bouncy seat, and then also a baby monitor. So those are things that are nice to have, but you don't necessarily have to have all those things, but those are kind of nice to have and can be very helpful.
And one of the things I like to add about the swing and the bouncy seat is make sure you're always using those straps for safety. Babies will start to move early on, and you don't want your baby sliding out of any of those items. So the last thing we like to talk about are toys. And really when it comes to toys, you are your baby's primary toy when they're first born. They love seeing human faces, hearing your voice, so get down and interact with your baby and they're going to be so happy. If you were to purchase any toys, things as simple as a rattle, you know, something that you could put in your baby's hand that eventually they'll grab onto and shake. Other things, and you've probably seen these out because they're marketed for babies and their development of their vision, are those items in contrasting patterns. The blacks, the whites, and the grays. And the reason why those are so important is that we know that early on babies tend to see in black and white and don't develop seeing in color until about 3 months of age. So that's something that they can really focus on, and it aids in their development because they're able to focus on that so well. So those kind of items are really good to have around the house. But definitely you are going to be their most important play toy. Is there anything else that you would like to add in terms of things that families are going to need for their babies?
Let's see, I can't really think of anything else right now, but one thing that we do recommend is that you visit the site www.cpsc.gov to check and see if a new or used product has been recalled. So that's something that's just kind of a nice thing periodically to be looking out for, any kind of recalled products. Also, and I did want to add one thing as far as like car seats and swings and bouncy seats, a safety tip, and that is that they should never be used for babies to sleep in. You know, because it's not really a good safe positioning. Babies can slip down, and like Carla was saying, they're like little Houdinis, and you could put them in one spot and then they can end up turning over and all kinds of things. So you want to keep them safe and keep them healthy. So that's just a good safety tip that I wanted to kind of add on in there.
All right, I guess this concludes
it. We're glad that you checked into us to see what we had to share with you. We do encourage you at any time to give us a call at 910-396-7951. We're all open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you have any further questions or you'd like to try out even a home visit or two, like, you know, we'd be glad to provide you with any kind of parenting resources and support that you need. Thank you again for joining us, and have a wonderful day.